Welcome to the very last stream for Liftoff drone racing. I think it's also the very last stream for the Astragon digital booth, and likely one of the last streams for Gamescom as well. It's been a strange Gamescom. Nonetheless, it's been great to be able to show our games, talk to you, because it's been, at least the previous 3 streams, there was some interaction with the community, so that was fantastic. Before we do, I hope video and audio is good for everyone. I can hear myself next to me a slight bit, but I don't think that's going to be a big issue. Anyway, I'm still Kevin Halteman, and next to me is still my colleague Tom Lissens. We're the co-founders of Lugus Studios, the company behind the Liftoff franchise. And again, as I said earlier, we're showing today Liftoff drone racing for the last time at Gamescom. It's the newest game in the Liftoff franchise, coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One this year still. Of course, if everything goes all right, but we are very confident in that. But before I talk more about the game and before we show the game, there's a few pointers I want to make. First of all, for us, the joy of participating in an event like Gamescom is the fact that we can meet face to face, talk to people, shake their hands, and just it becomes less of there's less of a divide between the developer and the gamers, and that's something we enjoy, and that's something that we do miss. So please get in the chat, let us know what interests you, because we want to talk, or at least we want to make this as interesting as possible for you. And to get an idea of where everyone is from, because one benefit of a digital event is that everyone, an international audience, can join. So please in chat let me know where you're from, and maybe also let me know what interests you about the game, and then we can focus on that. I do have to say we have, I'm checking the chat. There's also the people from Astragon who are checking it. In case you're German, you like to ask your question in German, feel free to do so. I think the people from Astragon will help and translate that for me. There is a bit of a delay, of course. Should be, well, in last stream I mistakenly said 30 minutes, but it's luckily it's only a delay of 30 seconds. So if you notice that your questions don't get answered instantly, don't worry about that. Another point is, again, as a result of this not being a live thing, we can't give you the game controller, and we unfortunately can't let you play the game. And since this is a console game, we also had to pre-record the footage. That being said, I can promise you that none of the footage has been edited, and in fact the final game should look a lot better than what we showed today, which is often different with the game demo, where you see that the demo up front looked a bit cooler, and then when you play it, it looks like some of the visual effects have been turned down. In our case, we're going to turn up the visual effects, so hopefully, I think it already looks great, but it should look even better when you get the game in your hands later this year, again for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Then the last point I want to make, and that allows me to show you something, of course, is, again, we love that human interaction. I do hope that, I asked you who you are, where you're from, but allow me to do the same. Behind every game there's a team of people who are very passionate about development, and we made a short clip of the studio and the people working there, so let's give that a shot. So we're a small company in Belgium, and when I say that we will show the team, well, you see drones, and well, that maybe hints at our passion for drones. We've been doing drone sims since 2015. This is the team, everyone hard at work. In case you're worried, all of this footage was captured before the whole pandemic, luckily. And right now, these past few months, we have had no one working at the studio. In fact, Tom and I are at the studio right now, but that's a very rare occasion, and we do keep a distance, so that's why Tom is not in the screen. But again, we do hope to get back soon, because it's definitely a group of friends. And something that I'm always proud of saying is that all the people working at Lugus, they're people that turn their hobby into a job, and I think that's a cool thing to say. Again, this is Tom, by the way. He's so dedicated to the cause that he even has a company logo tattooed. And in fact, there's one developer that has a Liftoff logo, which is kind of crazy, but again, it shows the passion and the dedication to the project. Funny is that we did change the logo for the console version, but maybe you should get a second tattoo in that case. Anyway, so this is a stream called Liftoff Drone Racing, and I've been talking about people, so let's talk about drone racing, right? So this is a race drone. Well, if you're into drone racing already, you will notice, well, this is a bit of an old timer. It's the Vortex 285. It's a big one. At least they make them a lot smaller now. And let's see. This is a newer version, and still this is, I mean, they get smaller still. Every drone has 4 motors for propellers. That's why they often call them a quadcopter. But the most important thing is there's a camera in front. They call it an Fpv Cam, and FPV stands for first person view. And that's because they also have what they call FPV goggles. So the pilot wears these. He or she can look through the camera of the drone. They look a bit like VR goggles, but they're not really a VR experience. Still, this is the dream of flying becoming a reality. It's super cool. It's almost science fiction, and we wanted to jump on that cool thing from the start. So the drone sport has become a big thing since 2015, and we've had a Liftoff game available since 2015. Anyway, let's show you what that looks like in game. So this is in-game footage from well, very experienced pilot, I have to say. This shows a lot of skill. This pilot is flying on a racetrack in one of our levels called the Liftoff Arena. And I mean, Liftoff on PC has very much been like a very authentic and true simulator. So the promise is that if you can fly in Liftoff, you can fly a real drone and vice versa. And so it does take a few days to get used to this and before people dare to hit a racetrack. And let's show you some freestyle as well, because it's not just about racing. There's other game modes like free flight and freestyle. And in freestyle, for example, it's all about doing cool tricks. And this pilot is very much doing some cool trick. In fact, there's one coming up right now. This is absolutely crazy. Wow, I mean, again, it's almost like a knack. Like I always get excited and I always tell it on stream, but I can watch this 100 times. That same pilot doing some tricks in another level, by the way. The level is called Hanover. So for the Germans among you, German city, it's the Hanover Mesa, a famous fairground. And this is being played in the nighttime version. So every level in Liftoff has a day and a nighttime version. So that should give you a first impression. Yeah, let's see if there's questions. And so feel free to ask questions at any time. And I think we can also switch to the main menu. Okay, so we have a first question from Robin de Vos. Greetings from Belgium, fan of Liftoff. Hey, of course, also from Belgium. We just had frites met mayonaise and stoofvlees sauce, so it's the national dish. I mean, you gotta love the fries, right? Belgian fries, not French fries. It's a good sim to see if I'm into drone racing freestyle without needing to invest a big amount immediately and worry about crashing. Exactly. Thank you for saying that, Robin, because that's exactly the promise of Liftoff. I mean, these drones, Some cost more, some cost less, but you do invest a few $100s or euros into these things, and you will crash them. Even the most experienced pilots, they do crash them. And you can prevent some of that crashing by practicing in a simulator like Liftoff first. And the biggest compliment we always get from our community is that although they have bought a game and so they've spent money, they always say it's the best investment yet, because rather than costing them money, this has saved them money. Because of course they crash a lot less. That's a big compliment, and that's a testament of the authentic nature of the simulator. Questions are coming in, thank you for that. Another question from David. Hello again, PSVR compatible? Unfortunately not. We do get the question about VR a lot, and maybe that the goggles, they do hint at a VR aspect to it. I can honestly say that we have tested, at least on the PC side, we have a prototyped VR version of Liftoff. And I have to say, although the first instinct says that it would be cool, it's the worst experience ever. I've never been so sick in VR, because you're flying things at 150 kilometers to 200 kilometers an hour, turning really fast, and these drones are not made to look around, so it's a very static screen. So what we can do in VR, in theory, is make it like a locked screen, but then the question is, what does VR add to the experience? And in fact, some people have used their VR goggles to mimic what a FPV goggle does. So on PC, in theory, if you want to simulate what FPV goggles do, you can use your VR headset. But if we support PSVR, then we would love to make a dedicated version, and that's a bit harder. So unfortunately, no. We have another question from Slappy Facepalm. Cool nickname. Hey, how does the controls in the game feel compared to a regular transmitter? The console controller sticks are a little bit shorter than the ones of most transmitters. So that's absolutely correct. In fact, for those who are not familiar with drone racing, this is what the typical transmitter looks like that pilots use. It's an FR Sky Tyrannis. It's one of the most popular brands. Not that I mean, they should sponsor me now, because buy these and no. Yeah, there, of course, on consoles, you're limited to a game controller. Not because the software can support it, because it's part of the limitation of the console hardware. And actually, this ties into what I was just about to tell. So people who know Liftoff, when they see this screen, they will instantly notice, well, this looks a bit different. And definitely Liftoff drone racing on console gets a new look and feel. There's a new soundtrack. The whole UI has been redesigned to work very intuitively with a game controller. And the same thing can be said about the flight controls. So, but I'll talk a bit more about that instantly. So let's move on. So one thing I did want to say is it's not just a new look and feel, there's a lot of exclusive features and content. On the stream yesterday, we showed and talked about a completely new tutorial, a career mode, and something what we call the assist flight mode. And maybe we can show you maybe the Pine Valley from a beginner pilot. So we designed a new flight mode called assist mode, and this is being demonstrated here. This is a pilot or player who, I think this is one of his or her first flight sessions. And this looks crazy to me, because on PC it takes people a few days to get into this. But here people are able to pick up the controller and fly instantly. And the way we do that, and of course all of this is optional, the way we do that is, first of all, in the assist mode, the game takes care of the altitude control. So the pilot can focus on the steering and following the track. So that means you can give the controller to your friends, your family, and they should be instantly be able to play and have fun. Another thing that it does is we remapped the way that things are done. Like in this mode, you don't use the sticks to give throttle, etc. You also use the triggers. And the way we did that is we talked to gamers, we gave them the controller, and we said, okay, what would you press if you would like to fly forward? And we we mapped what felt intuitive to them to the flight systems in the game. Again, all of that is optional. We have what we call authentic mode, and that will just fly like acro mode with 2 sticks. Yes, of course, this is on console. You're stuck with the game controller, so we wanted to make sure that it definitely works great with a game controller. So, of course, this is beginner footage. The same pilot a few weeks later, and that shows what the authentic, like the acro flight in first-person view, just by using the sticks. Probably the thumb rather than a pinch movement, because it is a gamer, but doesn't matter, right? But this looks, I mean, this is an impressive progress, I feel. This should fly exactly like Liftoff flies on PC, with I think a few tweaks to still make it easier for the fact that you have very short sticks. That being said, we have been playing this with a game controller at the studio for ages now. There are very cheap, like $1 stick extenders you can buy for your game controller. So for the pilots who really like a bit of a hardened stick, that shouldn't be a big investment, or it can be. I mean, I'm sure you can find golden ones with diamonds inlay, whatever, if you want to do the fancy thing. But that should definitely help out. So another question from David. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. With regards to physics, did you have a real-world data comparison? Yes, very much so. I mean, the system or the physics behind Liftoff, and of course, I mean, maybe competition would say something different, but I feel very confident in saying that we have the most advanced physics simulation of any real-time drone sim on the market, because of what goes on. And I'm happy to go into more detail if you want, but we take into account not just the combined behavior of the different parts on the drone, but also your weight, drag behavior. It's a very deep and complex system, and we have very detailed blog posts about that on our website, www.liftoff-game.com, where you can read all about that. And if you want, you can always interact with us in the community channels and our flight engineers. We have actual engineers working at the company who are completely specialized in this type of work. They're more than happy to answer all your questions in detail about that if you want. And more so, the fact that Liftoff is being used by research institutes as actual to be able to do research, and that's only possible if we do that if we have an authentic simulation environment. So let's move on to so yesterday we talked about progression. So we showed a brand new tutorial where Joshua Bartwell, also known as the FPV know-it-all, is also a know-it-all in Liftoff, because he's your mentor in Liftoff, and he definitely teaches you something in the game. Another catchphrase of him. So that's a cool thing. We also, exclusive to the console version, have a career mode. And I'm not going to detail today about that career mode. You can definitely check out the streams from yesterday where we do, but we can show you a short clip of that. So that was a very short clip showing you at least an introduction to the new career mode that's exclusive in the console version. What it is, it's the career mode gives you a bit of a history of drone racing. So as I mentioned, drone racing has been a thing since 2015. We wanted to let people experience what drone racing was like in the beginning. So the first season is you go back in time. So 2015, you get to fly with only the old hardware, some Vortex frames, for example, and you go to 2016, 17, 18, etc., and continuously unlock the technology that has become available during those years. So it's really cool. I mean, drone racing definitely changed. The speed changed, the dynamic nature of a race changes, and you get to experience that in our career. And so we're very excited about that. So I did get another question again from Slappy Facepalm. I'll shorten it. He basically asks, or she basically asks, will we have these tiny copters? So these are quadcopters, but you have a smaller class of drones called, you have tiny whoops and cine whoops, and we do get that question a lot. And I do have to be careful about how I answer that. So these tiny drones are not coming to Liftoff on PC and not to the console version. But that's all I can say about that. So maybe look out for our news sections soon. There might be some news about that, but I can go into more detail. In fact, I think I might have hinted at more than I should have. But so consider that to be a bit of an exclusive hint. Yeah, I'm going to shut up on that now. Tommy's looking at me like, what are you doing, man? Sorry about that. So I know it's not a straight answer to your question, but maybe it's still more of an answer than I should have given. But that's no problem. Anyway, for the people who just joined, welcome to the stream. I'm Kevin. Today I'm showing you Liftoff Drone Racing, the newest game in the Liftoff franchise, coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One later this year. I know the year there's not that many months left, so very soon, in fact. The community has been fantastic so far. I love the interaction. There's nothing more fun than doing a dialogue rather than a monologue. So please, if you just joined, feel free to ask questions in chat. I'm more than happy to answer your questions live on the stream. There is a bit of a delay, so 30-second delay. So if I don't answer instantly, don't worry. I will still try to check it out and answer your questions. So yeah, let's, well, yesterday we talked about the progression that you can make in Liftoff. Today I wanted to talk a bit more about customization, something that shouldn't be new to Liftoff fans, but definitely a cornerstone of the game and something we did want to show the gamers who might be interested. So yeah. And we get a last question from David. Does a console version compatible with? Is a console version compatible with transmitters like the TBS Tango? Again, as I said, our software can handle it, but that's a question you should actually ask Sony or Microsoft. This is a hardware question. If we release on console, we have to be compatible, or we have to make it for game controllers, and I know that consoles don't instantly support other input devices. That being said, we know it's an important thing. We would love to do it. So we are definitely talking to the platform holders. While this is not a promise, if there is an opportunity, we will surely support it in a future update. So hopefully I can say yes to that in the future. But currently for the first release, that's unfortunately a no. Again, something we would love to do. So I get that question and I completely agree. It's a really important thing, but that's why as well we made sure it functions great with a game controller. and let us know how you feel about it once you try it out. So okay, so the footage that you have seen while I answered that question is footage from the Workbench. For people new to Liftoff, everything in the game can be, at least your drone can be completely customized. There's 25 frames in the game from 15 licensed brands. Brands such as Immersion RC, Rotorite, Flytest, Armatun, X-Hover, Ria, and so many more. If the community loves the brand, chances are it's also in Liftoff, and that's something we are very proud of. And then other than the frames, there's hundreds of unique parts, and that allows you to completely customize your drone, and everything in the game, or the way your drone behaves, is completely affected by these customizations. So as you can see here on the top, you see the thrust, the weight, the top speed, the control. So each time you see a part change, you see the statistics change as well. And that's because none of the flight behavior is scripted. In fact, everything is simulated. That allows, in fact, and something I do have to warn for, you can create setups that you can fly with. Like, it's perfectly possible to create an unflyable setup. That's why these statistics are shown. So it shouldn't. So that should help you create a good setup. And of course, some people don't like customizations. So there's also what we call blueprint setups, who have been tuned by top pilots to fly great. So for those who are not into the whole customization thing, don't worry. We always make sure that everything you do or can do in Liftoff is optional, and the experience that you enjoy should be the experience that you should be able to play in Liftoff. So that's really important to us. So again, you can change frames, batteries, also called LiPos, motors, propellers, the FPV camera. You can change the tilt of that, the action cam and the antenna. And it's not just functional, as you can see in the video, we're changing colors, so you can recolor a lot of parts. The propellers, of course, there's even some golden propellers that you can unlock, which look very fancy. You can change the LED lights, for example. All of those cosmetic changes, they don't impact the flight behavior. It's all about pimping your drone. And again, that's another thing. We didn't want Liftoff to be just about the flying, but because let's face it, pilots are only flying 20 or 30% of the time. The other times they're fixing their drone, they're changing parts, adding new parts. It's a bit like a PC tuning community, you could say, or car tuning, in fact. And some just like to make their drones look pretty as well, and so that's also available in the game by changing colors, but we also have skins. And skins are things you can unlock by just playing the game. So we constantly reward you for flying, for racing. That's something we find really important. And don't worry, there's no microtransactions in the game. So none of those loot box economics, etc. You unlock those cosmetic gift boxes just by playing. And that's something that we really think is important to mention, especially these days. Everything we do is very much player focused. But yeah, nonetheless, hundreds of skins that make your drone look different. I do have to say, the different skins, sometimes they also change the shape. And although we take care of aerodynamics in the simulation, with those skins, they don't impact the flight. So it's purely cosmetic. Let's see if there's other questions. No, okay. Anyway, I think I wanted to talk for about, at least we plan a stream for half an hour. We're just past that now, but I do still have something to show, so it doesn't matter if we extend this a bit. And of course, there's still room for questions. If you have them, please don't hesitate to ask them. Now is the right time. And of course, if after the stream you're like, okay, damn, I had to ask that question and I forgot about that, feel free to join our community. We're very active on the community, so we're not a development team that stands beside it. All the devs are active on all our community channels, and we try to interact directly with our players. And none of that PR or marketing bullshit. Like we really talk the same way. Like, I mean, we feel we're excited about our game, so we feel part of that community, and we talk about it with the same passion as our top fans do. So you're welcome to join that community. Anyway, let's end this stream with a bit of an exclusive reveal. For the very first, no, not for the very first time. So an exclusive reveal for the second time, because a few hours ago we also did this first reveal. So the very second reveal of the exclusive cosmetic skins that you get with the deluxe version of Liftoff. The deluxe version is the one that you buy in the store, so the boxed version, that's the deluxe version. I think in a digital store there will also be a deluxe version, but there's also a standard version. Anyway, let's show you those skins. So this is the first one for a very popular race. Well, actually it's a freestyle frame, the Armatun Chameleon. And this is designed by our friends at Astragon, our publisher. Looks really cool, and it's a perfect example of what we call an epic skin, meaning that it's, you see real life skins like this as well. It's like there's stickers, or like it's an overlay, but this looks very fancy in my opinion. We have a second epic skin. This one is the CL1 frame, and this is a skin. It's like a tribute to Rotor Ride, and for well, of course, drone pilots, they know who Rotor Ride is, but for people who are interested in drone racing but are not part of that culture yet, I think it's fair to say that Rotor Ride is a bit like the Top Gear of drone racing. Like, they have a very popular YouTube channels, they have their Rotor Ride pilots, they make really cool videos, and we're big friends of them. They've actually, where I'm standing now, we've had people, we've had Tommy, we've had Joshua Bartwell, we have had Chad Capper. We met them, and in fact, Christian Capper has done his internship here. So we're big friends, and they helped us design these three last skins that we're going to show. So this is an epic skin for the CL1. And let's show a legendary skin. So again, the CL1, legendary changes up the shape of it. And so the previous frame and this one are supposed to be the same, but it looks completely different. Trust me, like it looks like a disc, but basically what it does is it shows the cool Rotor Ride logo. And trust me, when you fly around like this, especially with a certain tilt, that looks really cool. I'm really happy and I'm really proud of the artist of creating this. Our artist put a lot of effort in how these frames look. In fact, like every little detail of a frame gets made, and we sometimes go so far that you can even, at a certain tilt, you can even see fingerprints on some of the carbon fiber, which is absolutely crazy. I suppose no one has ever seen that, but it does show the passion in the team, and what we just love to make it as authentic as possible. Then the last legendary skin, I mean, I've seen hundreds of Liftoff skins because we have them on PC as well, except for these ones. There's a lot of cool ones, but this is my absolute favorite one. It's an actual skull. I mean, we've had the flat Rotor Ride logo, which is like an abstract skull, but this is an actual 3D skull. I know maybe for some, I think it's cool. Some might think it's maybe silly, but something that we did want to do with all our skins, with all the frames, is that we design them so that in theory, someone should be able to build this. This might be a bit difficult because it is carbon fiber. But still, everything I mean, if you really want to, you should be able to build this. Not sure if this will fly that great, but it will definitely look cool. And this is not even the coolest part about this. Of course, there's flames because why not, right? Not sure if you want to fly like this, but I'm sure you could for at least 10 or 20 seconds. Of course, in game, we can do something like this. And in case you would burn your LiPo and crash, you can always press the reset button, which is not something you could do in real life. But this looks just badass, right? I'm really happy with this result. It looks cool. And let's show people what that looks like in games. So these are all the exclusive skins that come in the deluxe version of the console version. There's even some new propellers and an antenna included. So yeah, I mean that's it. I think we talked a lot. So I said that a 30 minutes stream, it's 40 minutes. I'm more than happy to still answer a few questions if there are any. No, okay. Well, in that case, I think I did a good job in explaining, or at least in saying the things that you wanted to hear. I do hope so. If that's not the case, again, feel free to ask us questions in the community channels. We love to hear from you. The questions that get asked, and that was definitely the case today as well, give us a good indication of what the community feels is important. Just like on PC, the PC version again has been out for 5 years. We've released more than 120 updates. In fact, tomorrow we will release the biggest updates for the PC version to date. 5 years on, that shows our commitment, and we hope to have a similar commitment for the console version and for any future Liftoff projects that might come in the future as well. So we're in this for the long run. Liftoff has been great to us, the community has been great to us, and we want to give that back as well. Okay, no additional questions. So then I want to thank you for watching this stream, for the awesome questions. I want to thank you for watching the other Astragon streams as well. I hope you had a fantastic gamescom time. Hopefully next year we can shake each other's hands. You can play our latest game. We can talk face to face. That's always a bit more fun, but still it was fantastic that I got the opportunity to at least talk to you this way. And with a bit more people as well. So I wanted to end this stream with something that really excites me every time I see it. No, it's not that elevator dive in our level Bando city that I showed in the beginning, because that's cool, but I think we had our announcement for the console version was done with a CG trailer that really shows what we try to bring to the game, that excitement, that adrenaline rush. So let's roll it. Thank you. Have a great evening, and hope to see you next year.